Again, good morning everyone, especially to you ma'am. So my name is Richly Chavez Lindayao. I am the fifth reporter for today. So my topic is all about a glance at selected Philippines political caricature in Alfred Macoy's Philippines cartoons, a political caricature of the American era since 1900-1941. So, political cartoons and caricature, it is the recent art form which verve away from the classical art. So, political cartoons and caricature, it is the came from the classical art. Cartoons, an effective tool of publicizing opinions through heavy use of symbolism. So, through political cartoons, pagawas nimo ang imong idea, opinions through the heavy use of symbolism. So, Alfred Macoy and also Alfredo Roses ga-compiled sila political cartoons nga gi-publish in the newspaper dailies. So, Alfred Alfred Macoy and Alfredo Roses ga-compiled sila og mga political cartoons nga gi-publish sa mga newspaper dailies nga kanang kasagarang ng anaa sa mga newspaper ilahang gi-compiled. So the first nga ilang gi-compiled nga political cartoons, as we can see in this picture, muna siya una nga ilahang gi-compiled. So the first example shows was published in the Independent on May 20, 1916. It is the political cartoons from Tondo named Dr. Santos. So, mao ni first cartoon nga gi-compiled ni Alfred Macoy and also Alfredo Roses. So, these political cartoons, this person, mao ni siya si Dr. Santos nga gikan sa Tondo, from Tondo, Manila. So, this guy is Dr. Santos. Mo ni siya brother-in-law ni Dr. Barcelona. Mo ni siya brother-in-law ni Dr. Santos. And this Filipino guy, wearing salakot and barong Tagalog, he trying to stop Dr. Santos nga ang crown ni Dr. Santos nga iyang gihatag ni unta ni Dr. Barcelona, and tells that stop give Barcelona the crown because it is not his to begin with it. So iyang gi try to stop, iyang gi pungan si Dr. Santos nga ang crown ni Dr. Santos nga mahatag sa iyang brother-in-law nga si Dr. Barcelona. So this political cartoons shows public post is not a hereditary crown. So the second cartoons was also published by the Independent on June 16, 1917. Was drawn by Fernando Amorsolo and was aimed as a commentary to the working of Manila police at that period. So, Juan de la Cruz, a man wearing salakot. So, this political cartoons, gidraw ni siya ni Fernando Amorsolo. And also, gi-publish ni siya by the Independent on June 16, 1917. So, this is a Filipino child, and this man nga gasuot og salakot, barang Tagalog ang salakot, muli siya si Juan de la Cruz, and this is the officer. So, a man wearing a salakot labeled Juan de la Cruz. So, mao ni siya si Juan de la Cruz. Was grabbing the officer telling him to leave the small time pickpockets and thieves and to turn at the great thieves. So, iyang trying og stop ang officer nga naglaga sa bata nga nanguha og pagkaon. So, the third political cartoons was a commentary on the unprecedented cases of colorum automobiles in the city street. the Philippines Free Press published this commentary when fatal accident involving colorum vehicles and taxis occurred too often already. So mo ni siya makita na to nga political cartoons nga ga-symbolize na siya og kanang mga kolorom nga mga sakinan nga ga-involve ni siya og mga accidents. Mo ni siya mga kasagaran mahitabo sa sa usa ka lugar kung ano ray mga kolorom nga masakyanan nga sige ra gyapon ka babiyahe, mag-cause na siya mga fatal accidents. So the next political cartoons, it is the fourth political cartoons depicts a cinema. So a blown-up police officer was at the screen saying that couples are not allowed to make love in the theater. Two young stars look horrified while an older couple seems amused. So as we can see in the political cartoons nga adunay duha ka couple youngsters din na ay police officers. So makita na to nga kaning duha ka batan-on nga galanto na sila og sini. So these officers buyag sila nga that couples are not allowed nga kinahanglan dili siya pwede not allowed to make love in that theater. So next political cartoons was published by the Independence on November 27, 1915. Here we see the caricature of Uncle Sam. So this is the caricature of Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam riding in a chariot pulled by Filipinos wearing school uniforms. So makita na to diri sa political cartoons. This is Uncle Sam. This is a Filipino guy na nagsuot og mga school uniforms. The Filipino boys were carrying American objects like baseball bats, whiskey, and boxing gloves. McCoy and his captions to the said cartoon says that this cartoon was based on an event in 1907 when William Howard Taft was brought to the Manila Pier riding a chariot pulled by the students of Liceo de Manila, such was condemned by the Nationalists at that time. So sa una pa ni dahil siyang hitabo, so ilarang gi-symbolize nga kana nga political cartoon. So the next one, the last political cartoons was published by Lipang Kalabaw on Last political cartoons was published by Lipang Kalabaw on August 24, 1907. Uncle Sam rationing porridge to the politicians and members of the Progresista Party known as the Federalista Party, while members of the Nacionalista Party look on and wait for their turn, depicts the patronage of the United States being coveted by the politicians from either of the party. So, these political cartoons, di-publish ni siya sa Lipang Kalabaw on August 24, 1907. So, drawn by Uncle Sam that rationing porridge the politicians and the members of the Progresista Party known as the Federalista Party. So, muna siya mga Federalista Party. So next one is the analysis of the political caricatures during the American period. So aduna usay mga analysis sa mga political caricatures during sa American period. So the transitions from the Spanish colonial period to the American occupations period demonstrate the different strands of changes and shifts in culture, society, and politics. So, when the analysis of the political caricatures during the American period, the Spanish colonial period ngadto sa American occupations period, ka-demonstrate sila og mga lain-lain nga mga changes sa ilahang culture, sa ilang society, and also their politics. During ni siya sa analysis of the political caricatures of American period. During American period, the Filipinos were introduced the different manifestations of modernity. So, during pod sa American period, ang Filipino nagpagawas pod sila og ag-introduce pod sila og lain-lain nga mga manifestations. Ang una nga ilang gipagawas is the healthcare, modern transportations, and also the media. The post-independence and also the post-Filipino-American period in the Philippines were experienced differently by Filipinos coming from different classes. So, during the analysis of the political caricatures during the American period, the post-independence and the post-Filipino-American period, the experience po sila mga linlaing Filipinos na coming sa ilang, kagikan sa ilang mga different classes. The upper Principalia class experienced economic prosperity with the opening up of the Philippines economy to the United States, but the majority of the poor. So, the upper Principalia class experienced po sila mga economic prosperity. Ga-open sila og mga Philippines economy, United, and also the United States. But the majority ani katudyo katong mga Filipino poor. Filipino remain poor, no? As we can see, nga ang Filipino ga remain ra gyapon nga poor sa kung saon og paningkamot, disparate, and victims of state repression. The selected cartoons illustrate not on the opinion of an certain media outfits about the Philippine society during the American period, but also paint a broad image of society and politics under the United States. So as we can see, nga katong gipang-compiled nila ni Alfred Macoy og ni Roses nga ang katoding mga political cartoons ga-depicts ito siya og mga broad image sa mga society og sa ato ang politics under the United Nations. The rising dynastic politics in Tondo as depicted in the cartoons published by the Independent. So, as we can see ganiha ang katong political cartoons nga gagikan to siya sa Tondo as depicted in the cartoons nga gipublish siya during the Independent. Patronage became influential and powerful not only between clients and patrons, but also between the newly formed political parties. United States presented by Uncle Sam provided dole-outs for members of the Federalista, which the Nationalista politicians looked on and awaited for their turn. So, gahulat ra gyapon sila sa ilang turn nga sila na po'y magpagawas o pagawas sa ilang mga kaybalo. So, as we presented by Uncle Sam, nga itong makita ganiha sa kuan political cartoons, sa last political cartoons. The problem continues up to the present where politicians transfer from the party to another depending on which party was powerful. So that problem ga padayon ra gyapon to sila where ang politicians man transfer na sila og another nga party nga katong mas powerful siya. The transitions from the Catholic-centered Spanish Filipino society to an imperial American assimilated one and its complications were also depicted in the cartoon. So, the transition di ay sa mga Catholic-centered Spanish Filipino society and also the American, assimilate na siya og mga complications sa depicted sa cartoons nga itong makita ganiya sa mga political cartoons nga i-compelled sa duha ka person. So, like for example, is the unprecedented increase of motorized vehicle in the city. However, the laws and the policy implementations was mediocre. That resulted in the increasing colorum and unlicensed vehicles transporting people around the city. So, sa usa ka lugar kung daghang mga kolorum nga mga sakinan, so dili jud na siya maayo ang result. So, kinahanglan na siya nga kung anong sa ato ang government na kanang mga sakinan nga nagbiyahe nga mga unlicensed. So, So, lastly, the cartoons illustrated the conditions of poor Filipinos in the Philippines now governed by the United States. From the looks of it, nothing much has changed. So, lastly, nga itong makita ganiya sa political cartoons, ga-illustrate da ito siya sa mga for Filipino. So, lastly, the cartoons illustrated the conditions of poor Filipinos in the Philippines now governed by the United States. From the looks of it, nothing much has changed. So, katod ang political cartoons nga last nga atong na-discuss ganiha, ga-illustrate to siya mga conditions sa mga for Filipinos in the Philippines now nga gisakop siya sa mga United States. Example, cartoons depicted how police authorities oppress petty Filipino criminals while turning a blind eye on hoarders who monopolize goods in their huge warehouse, presently Chinese merchants. So, the other cartoons depict how Americans controlled Filipino through seemingly harmless American objects by controlling their consciousness and mentality. American got to control and subjugate Filipinos. So, sa atong makita ganiya sa political cartoons nga ang for Filipinos nga gisakop na siya under sa United States. So, that's all. Thank you.